Episode 5 Flight Shop begins with a scene on a metro, where a voiceover by Youngji explains that people who experience near-death situations often see a bright light before waking up. They pass through a dark tunnel and meet their loved ones. In the metro, we see a man talking on the phone, saying he will call back later as he is on the train. At the same time, Yan Min is sitting on the train texting his girlfriend Ji Young, telling her that he has eaten and will be home soon. His girlfriend Ji Young replies that he is very late. Ji Young, looking sad and troubled, read his message saying he will be home soon. When Hein Min sends another message saying he misses her, Ji Young starts typing that she misses him too, but stops and begins crying. We see that Hyun Min has bought a bouquet and a ring, planning to propose to Ji Young, feeling happy and excited. Meanwhile, Ji Young is packing her belongings, including a photo of them together. She reads a note in her notebook where her mother advised her to leave Hyun Min because he couldn't handle the relationship. Ji Young throws that notebook into a plastic bag. The next scene shows Sin Han visiting an apartment with a broker, showing the apartment and praising its features like the laundry room and other amenities. Hee Won is also there with her as they came together to check out the apartment. The broker asks if they are mother and daughter, making them uncomfortable as they leave. Hee Won fixes Si Hon's footwear, but Si Hon walks away, appearing distant. Meanwhile, we see Haicho is returning from school while her mother waits outside with an umbrella as it's raining heavily. When Haicho asks about her father, her mother says he had already left for a business trip. Haicho expresses her concern, saying he shouldn't have gone out in the heavy rain. The mother and the daughter share a close bond as they walk home together. Haicho asks when they will move to the new apartment, worried about how her mother pick her up after school if they move closer to her school. Her mother reassures her lovingly that she will always be there even after they move, and they walk happily. Later, we see Jang returning home with his friends, talking about how he kept his shoes clean and played basketball well. His friends joke around as they head home. The next scene introduces someone, a bus driver, talking on the phone about starting the bus. However, he notices a strange noise from the bus and informs taking it to the garage. He is informed that the repair cost would come from his own pocket if he decides to check it at another garage. So he decides to go to his own garage to save his money and starts the bus, letting passengers on board. An elderly woman helps her grandson get on the bus and asks the driver to take care of him before leaving. The bus departs, while the radio announces heavy rain warnings. Meanwhile, Min rushes out of the subway but suddenly remembers he left his bouquet on the train. He hurries back but realizes that he won't get it anyway and is frustrated with himself for being so careless. At the bus station, he sees the same man from the train talking sweetly to his wife on the phone. And Hin Min also texts Ji Young saying he will be late but will be home soon and that he misses her deeply. As he waits for his bus, we see Ji Young, who has closed her shop due to personal reasons. She looks around at her small shop and then at her table where there is a bell with a sign that says press the button in case of absence. We learn that Ji Young cannot hear. Just then, she reads a message from Hin Min saying he will be late due to the rain. Reading the message gives her some relief. The bus arrives at the stop and the bus driver notices a problem with the bus. Hin Min boards the bus, greets the driver and takes his seat. The bus moves to the next stop where Jang has been waiting. As he stands up to board the train, water splashes on his shoes, which he had been trying to keep dry. The driver again notices an issue with the bus brake. Ji Young boards the train and takes his seat. The driver thinks that he needs to get the bus repaired soon and sets the display to not in service before driving off. Next we see Si Hon is angry walking ahead while Hee Won following her. Si Hon seems frustrated, telling Hee Won to stop following her. She complains that they always have to hide their relationship from people as if they are committing a crime. She asks how long they will have to keep their relationship a secret. Hee Won responds that it's because they don't look like a couple due to their age difference. She blames herself and feels guilty for the situation. Si Hon argues that they shouldn't care about what people think, but Hee Won says it will only cause more trouble. She worries about Si Hon will explain the relationship to people and how long they can keep making excuses. Sihon, still angry, says she can't live like this, tells Hee Won to stay away from her and never show her face again. She declares she doesn't want to be with her anymore and asks her to stay out of her life. Just then, a bus arrives. Sihon, barefoot, angrily boards the train and sits down. Hee Won picks up her heels and belongings and also boards the bus. Sitting behind Sihon, the bus moves ahead. At the bus stop, Haichu and her mother try to stop the bus, but the driver signals from a distance that he needs to take the bus to the garage. However, seeing the mother and daughter running behind the bus, the driver stops. Haicho scolds the driver for making her mother run despite her leg problem. The driver apologizes. The bus resumes its journey. Hinmin notices Hee Won but senses something is wrong with Sihon, ignores Hee Won attempts to talk. Haicho quietly observes them and quietly scolds her not to stare at people. As the bus crosses a bridge, everyone is lost in their own thoughts, waiting to reach their destination. Suddenly, one of the bus's tires burst, causing the bus to lose its control. The driver struggles to control the bus, but a truck approaches from the opposite direction, with his driver distracted by his phone. The bus collides with the truck, flips over, and crashes into the river below. Cheong, walking from a distance away, reads Hinmin's message and types, "Missed you too." Just then, she sees the bus falling from the bridge into the water and panics. She tries calling Hinmin, but he doesn't answer, making her even more anxious. She then calls emergency services, but when asked what's the emergency, she is unable to respond. She realizes here that Chi-young is both mute and deaf. Overwhelmed with fear, she runs towards the bus. Inside the submerged bus, we see all the passengers underwater. Hinmin's phone shows Chi-young's message, and Chi-young is seen giving his basketball to a small child before being submerged. Even the driver is underwater, motionless. Outside the hospital, the police have gathered. All the patients are being rushed to the emergency room for treatment. Hinmin is one of the patients, and doctor mentioned that his back is severely injured. He is immediately taken to the emergency room. The young child from the accident and Haicho are also there, while doctors try to save the bus driver. Meanwhile, another injured driver approaches Young-chi, explaining of chest pain, and asks if she can help. Ji-young, busy with someone else's treatment, tells him to wait nearby. The man, clearly in pain, waits in the emergency room. Hee Won and Sihon are brought in together. At this point, Ji-young arrives at the hospital, rushing inside, and she sees the chaotic scene of patients being treated but cannot hear anything due to her hearing impairment. Families anxiously wait outside the treatment room. Suddenly, a body is wheeled out, making everyone tense. A doctor asks if anyone from the driver's family is present. The driver's wife, who is sitting nearby, realizes it's her husband, breaks down after learning he couldn't be saved. Grieving, she leaves the place. Shortly after Jang is brought, his parents sees him and starts crying. He is shifted to another room. Seeing this, other families become more anxious. A man, looking as if someone died in his family, sits down. Then Haicho is brought out, and the man identifies himself as her family member and follows her. After that, Sihon is brought out, with her parents rushing after her. All these individuals are conscious. Finally, Hinmin's parents are the last ones waiting. Another body is brought out, which turns out to be Hee Won. Since no family member is there, doctor takes her body away. Seeing this, Hinmin's parents still hope their son might be alive, even though they are filled with fear. The police arrive and hand out Hinmin's phone, which they found at the crash site. Seeing the phone, his mother breaks down and pleads for her son to survive. Meanwhile, Ji-young is sitting outside the hospital calling Hinmin, but his mother rejects the call. Ji-young then receives a message stating that Hinmin has passed away and that Ji-young is responsible for everything. Overwhelmed with grief, Ji-young cries and leaves the hospital. Later, Hinmin is brought out, still unconscious, while his parents follow him in tears. He is taken into the emergency room, where doctors stop his parents from entering, saying only patients are allowed inside. His parents wait outside, desperately hoping he will survive. His mother insists their son will survive, while his father says it depends on Hinmin's will to fight. Hinmin's father suggests calling Ji-young, fearing she might be worried, but his mother hesitates, saying she will always against their relationship because Ji-young is deaf. Still, Hinmin's father takes his phone but sees a message from Ji-young saying she will go wherever Hinmin is. Meanwhile, Ji-young is in her room looking at a photo of herself and Hinmin. Overcome with sorrow, she tries to hang herself. Hinmin's parents sees the message, panic, and try to text Ji-young back that Hinmin is alive. At the same time, Ji-young sees the message on her phone, struggles to save herself from hanging. Her nails break and falls to the floor as she fights desperately, but couldn't do it. In the final scene, all the characters are seen walking through the dark alley near the light shop, symbolizing their emotional journey. A voiceover reveals that while they were unconscious, their souls connected through shared experience of love, pain, and loss. Hee Won is always seen with Sehun, and Haecho is always seen with the mother, and Ji Young is reunited with Hanmin, but he is unable to recognize her. With this emotional closure, the episode ends.